I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt. Once again, we're about to another review. This is another paid request, this time from Megan. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos or commentaries, reviews, re-reviews, topics, randomness, whatever, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And Megan wanted me to talk about, well, the first couple episodes, but mainly in general of Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Now, might be a long-winded one, so I apologize in advance. Before I get into the first couple episodes, to get into the topic itself, growing up, I was a big Scooby-Doo fan. That was a cartoon that obviously I did not see when it came out, because it came out in 1969, but my aunt would send the family VHS tapes of various sorts that she would tape off of cable, because we only had 4 channels at the time: ABC, CBS, PBS, and a second form of CBS. So she would tape like reruns and things of that nature. And that's how I found Scooby-Doo, along with a lot of other shows, Simpsons, things of that nature. Now, growing up, I remember watching a lot of Scooby-Doo and the Boo Brothers, which is one of my personal favorite Scooby-Doo movies, because I love the mystery of that just really appealed to me. The treasure hunt and all the weird characters that Shaggy in particular had to meet and deal with. Also like Scooby-Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf. I wish those had a Blu-ray, but sadly a lot of that doesn't have a Blu-ray. But I would grow up watching this show, and looking into it, I didn't fully realize how this show got started, how it got made. To sadly, there's features, but there's really nothing in depth on the making of, which is a shame. But that seems like a lot when it's a kid's property and they put it on DVD or even Blu-ray. They don't really go in depth on the documentary, which is a shame, because there's a lot of people that would have grown up with this and enjoyed it for nostalgia's sake. So I still don't understand why you couldn't do like a full documentary on the making of this show. It wouldn't just be kids who enjoyed it. Because this is from 1969 it started, and going to the 70s. So there'd be a lot of older fans that maybe liked it when they were a kid and want to know more. But from what I understand, this show was created because at the time, CBS and Hanna-Barbera, they wanted to create a show that was not violent. At the time, there was superhero shows like Space Ghost, Herculoids, some others that the parent watchdog said are too violent. Yes, even back then, parents said, they're too violent. They're too violent for our kids. Because parents were fucking stupid. They're still fucking stupid. So things have not changed. The more things change, the more they stay the same, huh? Really, they were bitch. Yeah, they were. They're bitch about stupid shit then, just like they bitch about stupid shit now. So, okay, what are we going to do? Well, there was this one show we created called The Archie Show. The Archie Show was a rock group band, and they do certain things, and then they would play certain songs, which were popular. I think one of them was the song, Sugar, Sugar, You Are My Candy Girl. And that was a big hit. And, okay, that's a hit. Let's find another show similar to that. Let's make another show, but let's have it be a rock band that goes around in their van, but also solves mysteries. So originally, they were going to be a rock band. And there's supposed to be 5 of them. And it was going to be called Mysteries 5. And the dog was not called Scooby-Doo, it was called Too Much. And none of the characters had the names that they ultimately became. And there's talks of maybe, instead of a Great Dane, this would be a sheepdog. Because they were worried that this would be construed as a ripoff of Marmaduke, who's a Great Dane. So I think at one point there's going to be a sheepdog called Too Much, Mysteries 5, and they were a rock band that when they weren't playing their gig, they were out solving mysteries. Obviously, things were changed, names were changed. Instead of 5 kids, it was 4 kids. And that's what I meant by 5. It would be 5 kids, not 4. It'd be 5 humans and a dog. So they took one off, they changed the names. Scooby-Doo, I believe the name was, there's a piece of a Frank Sinatra song, I think it's called Strangers in the Night, where there's a part that Frank Sinatra's like, doobie doobie doo. And, hey, doobie doo, Scooby, doobie doobie, Scooby. That's kind of where the name came from. And they said, let's take the music out. So obviously they kept the van, the mystery van, and they just go off and solve mysteries. And when this came out, it was a huge hit. Huge hit. Now, I do find it strange that CBS, even though this was a huge hit, they only did 2 seasons. If someone knows why they only did 2 seasons, even though this was such a huge hit, you can let me know. Because 69 to 70, 70 to 71, this was a hit. And then they decided to change it up and do the Scooby-Doo movies. Which sadly I don't have that. I would like to pick that up sometime. And again, I will get to the show, but to go through all of the different types of shows that this came out of. Because success of this initial show. The Scooby-Doo movies, that's when Scooby-Doo and the gang met up with Sonny and Cher, Addams Family, Three Stooges, Laurel and Hardy, Speed Buggy, Jerry Reed, Don Knotts, Jonathan Winters. I remember watching some of those and having fun with it. That lasted like a season. And then from like 73 onward, they did nothing but run reruns. And again, this seemed fairly successful, so I don't know why CBS kind of just let it sit there. And then when it got into the more of the 70s, ABC took it. And oh, this is Scooby. People like Scooby-Doo. So then they did this very convoluted thing, which I don't know why they did this. And this is why you can't get all the episodes of the Scooby-Doo show. Because it's 3 seasons, but each season was a different thing. Because the first season of that was Scooby-Doo Dino Mutt Hour. I believe you could get that on DVD. Which I don't have that. I'd like to pick that up sometime. The second season, you can't really get. And it was Scooby Laugh Olympics. And those episodes are like spread out all over an assortment of random DVDs. And some of them are not even ever been available. And then the third season, I remember the intro where it's Scooby on water skis, hanging around for Scooby-Doo. When that third season would happen, there were times where they were using the intro to Where Are You? They would use the Where Are You intro even though it was the third season of this other show, was even create more confusion, and that's why later on that was released as this, the third season, which even is confusing. It says it's the third season, but technically it's not the third season, because this only had 2 seasons. This is from a show way back later in the mid-70s that it's very confusing. This was 69, 70. This was by the time 76, 77. And if I can open it. 16 episodes. And the one I remember the most is the Diabolical Disc Demon, because they were at a radio station. It's Ace Decade! And I don't remember if this has Scooby-Doo Where Are You at the beginning, or if it has the Waterstein, the Scooby-Doo show. It is confusing, I know. It's strange that they did that. And then they're like, well, the ratings aren't really the best. Yeah, you kept changing the fucking title, the formula with each season. The Dynamite Hour, Laugh Olympics, then it's the Scooby-Doo show. Then you put the fucking Where Are You intro in front of it, so people, if they watch it, is it one of these? No, it's new. Wait, but this has the Where... Fucking dumb Warner Bros. Warner Brothers fucked it up even back then. So then they're like, we need to change the formula. We need to change it up. Things are not working. I'm like, it's not working because you kept fucking changing every season. Dynamite. So then that's when they introduced Scrappy-Doo. It was the late 70s to early 80s they introduced Scrappy-Doo. The smaller runt dog who's the nephew of Scooby-Doo. And then you had the Scooby and Scrappy show. And this gets even more confusing, because there's the Scooby and Scrappy show. I believe there's a season DVD of that. Then there was another show also called the Scooby and Scrappy show. And that wasn't released. But maybe you get it as it's on this DVD, and some episodes on this DVD, and some episodes on that DVD. And it's almost the same title, so I don't know how the fuck you don't tell the difference. I would like to rewatch those. But how the fuck can you get them? Scooby and Scrappy season DVD, yeah. But then... And at first it had the Dane, and then Scrappy-Doo, and then they went away. It was Scooby, Scrappy, and Shaggy. Then later on, Daphne was a part of it. And then ultimately Fred and Velma came back. Because I know there was a point where it was Scooby, Scrappy, Shaggy, and Daphne, and that's it. So they kept changing it up. And then you had the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo, where you had Vincent Price as part of the cast. And yeah, it gets... I know you had a pup named Scooby-Doo. Like I say, it gets... And then go on, so on. And it still kept going. The shows never last long. They last like a season or two, and then they go with a different formula. Like even later years, you had What's New Scooby-Doo, you had Mystery Inc., you had Casey Kasem come back as Shaggy, the voice, then Matthew Lillard did the voice of Shaggy. I can't even keep track with... That's not even counting all the direct-to-video animated movies. Like back in the day, Scooby-Doo and the Boo Brothers, Reluctant Werewolf. I don't know if those went in the theaters or those were made for TV. The Boo Brothers, and if you know, feel free to let me know. There was also the Ghoul School, which I remember not liking as much as Boo Brothers and Electric Werewolf. And then you have the 2002 live action movie, which I don't mind. I don't mind it. Funny enough, I think the original intention with that was going to be an R-rated movie, which was very strange. But then they had to cut stuff out. Because, yeah, I'd be curious to see the cut. Release the Scooby cut. Be better than the Snyder cut. But the sequel didn't really care much of. Which is funny, that was more like the cartoon, but it was a less successful, less interesting movie. I know. And then countless direct-to-video movies where Zombie Island, Witch's Ghost. I think one came out where Courage the Cowardly Dog team up with Scooby, which that sounds interesting. There's a new show, Guess Who, that's like another take on Scooby-Doo movies where there's guest stars. So like Steve Buscemi's a guest star on an episode, Whoopi Goldberg's a guest star on an episode. Yeah, apparently that's the new show. I did countless stuff. And a lot of the stuff you cannot find. So, this now, getting back to this. Yeah, the show, when this debuted, there's a point where they had a laugh track on cartoons. I know that sounds weird. And even watching this, some episodes will have the laugh track, some episodes do not. So I find that kind of weirdly inconsistent. Like the first episode, What a Night for a Night, had the laugh track. Then the second and the third one did not have a laugh track. Because what happened is, at the time, a lot of cartoons had a laugh track. Then sometime in the 70s, they said, don't do that anymore. And then syndication, when they rerun the episodes, sometimes they did it with the laugh track, sometimes they did it without the laugh track, and they took it off. Even here, some have it on, some don't. To me, the laugh track is very weird for a cartoon, and just out of place. Laugh track in general is out of place, but especially for a cartoon. So, I don't know why some have and some don't. But I mean, the two seasons, when it got to season 2, I remember when they had these chase scenes, there was much more of these bubblegum pop songs. By, I guess it was a band that was going to do music for Josie and the Pussycats cartoon. So then they did the stuff for this. And, like I said, in season 2, anytime a chase scene happens, there'd be a different song pop up. Which is kind of tish, fun for what it is. Better than songs of today, sadly. And because of the time frame, it's very much 60s, 70s. The mystery van with the flowers on it, Shaggy himself, the hippie beatnik, the way the clothes, the dialogue. It's wholesome fun, which you don't have nowadays. Because it'd be either winking, or it'd be snide, or it'd be cynical, or they try out for gross out humor. Like, if you try to be wholesome like this, you'd be laughed at, but it's kind of a cartoon-wise, a much more innocent time. And it had a formula, and it stuck to it. And for the most part, it worked. It has a great theme song. In fact, the music is solid. I think it's top-notch. Not just the theme song. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? We got some work to do now. I know you acted like you got a sliver. You're not fooling me, 'cause I can see the way you shake and shiver. But the whole score, very top-notch. I would say, cartoon-wise, is one of the best soundtracks, like scores for a cartoon. I really do feel that way. I think it's very solid. The animation, a lot of people talk about Hanna-Barbera, where they reuse a lot of cycles, like when characters are walking or they're running, or the backgrounds, that the background would be the same over and over again, or they're running in place, or they're... I get that. That's not the most sophisticated animation. For the time, it worked. And I don't have a problem with it. Sometimes simple is more effective. But I did that if you watch it in a marathon, it could get old because you are seeing the same running animation, sometimes the same position, but they change the background a little bit, like characters. Well, you tell they reuse footage, like when the Dan are at the malt shop and they're in the same type of positions and the same body language. It's just maybe move the mouths a little bit different to save on, but budget. Some people will have a problem with it. I can understand that, but for the time period, I'm fine with it. And they do have a formula of they're doing the thing. There's a mystery. They're finding clues for the mystery. Velma, maybe she loses her glasses. I can't see without my glasses. Fred, the leader. We need to solve a mystery, gang. Daphne and Fred go off and separate while it's either Shaggy Scooby or Shaggy Scooby and Velma. Shaggy and Scooby already wanted stuff to eat. Scooby don't want to do anything, but then they buy them off with Scooby snacks. So kids, beg, don't let anybody tell you to do anything unless they give you something. Then you can do it. Usually they have a plan at the end. Scooby, Shaggy are both fuck it up, but then they do defeat the bad guy. And it's never a monster in the old show. It's always someone in a mask. And they take the mask off. That's who it is. It's a formula that, again, maybe it's one of those things that if you have the same formula over and over again, it can only work for a certain amount of time before it gets old and people get tired of it. Maybe that's why they changed the formula so much after like 2 or so seasons. Maybe they know something I don't. And it's like, okay, if you try to do this for a lot longer than 2 or 3 seasons, people don't get bored with it. Maybe that's their thinking. But even as a kid, what always appealed to me on the show was, yes, a cartoon, but it has that mystery, slightly horror element. And as a kid who's into horror, into mystery, that is fun to see as a kid being merged into, a innocent cartoon. Like, I'm a big fan of action, so the Ninja Turtles appeal to me. I'm a big fan of horror mystery, so Scooby-Doo appealed to me. So those are kind of the 2 big cartoons of my childhood, was Ninja Turtles and Scooby-Doo. Action and horror, which became 2 of my favorite genres, funny enough. Action 1, horror 2. The voices worked very well. Don Messick is Scooby-Doo. When he passed away, I think it was in the 90s he passed away, it just wasn't the same. When many other people have tried to voice Scooby-Doo, it's just never the same. It just always sounded off. It sounded not quite right, not quite correct. And they're doing, but just Don Messick just had that certain tone, cadence. And when you watch the first couple episodes of Scooby-Doo, yeah, he gets scared, but there's a lot of moments where he feels more like a character than seems like what you would see nowadays with Scooby-Doo. Like, be brave. Be Rin Tin Tin. No. Be John Wayne. John Wayne? And he's acting like John Wayne, or, oh, he found a clue, hey, come with me. Like, much more productive of a character compared to later on, nowadays as a character. Like, it seems like Scooby-Doo nowadays, he just hangs around, runs, but there's a bit more to Scooby-Doo when you watch the early episodes. And like I said, Don Messick, he was Scooby, and no one else could quite get that inflection and tone of Scooby's voice. Tasty Taysom, always enjoyed him as Shaggy. In fact, I would say Shaggy was always my favorite of the group, because I thought Shaggy had some of the funnier lines. Like, even this first 3 episodes, I got more of the laughs from Shaggy and some of his reactions. Like, there's a talking skull giving him directions, and Shaggy's like, "Thanks, man. No problem." Or they hear a ghost, and Velma's like, "It's the wind." Because they hear a ghost laughing, and Velma's like, "It's the wind," and Shaggy goes, "That's the first time I've ever heard a wind having a sense of humor." Like, Shaggy always appealed to me more than any of the other characters. And I do think Matthew Lillard did a great job voicing Shaggy. Not just portraying him in the 2002 film, but I've seen snippets of the newer stuff with Matthew Lillard voicing Shaggy. I think of all of them, he's the best at getting the feel of the old character. And I thought that was the best casting choice. But yeah, Casey Kasem, greatly missed. May he rest in peace. Same with Don Messick. Fred, Daphne, Velma, those voices work well. Daphne there. Pretty damn hot. Pretty damn hot. That's all I'll say. And the animation, I like the gloomy atmosphere. It does, the shadows and the locations, like the graveyard of ships and the haunted isles and haunted islands, and it has a nice, try to have gloomy atmosphere for a kid show in the late 60s, early 70s. And the first 3 episodes, What a Night for a Night, pretty much this guy disappears. The gang finds his car. There's a armor, night armor. And then Shaggy goes, "Maybe went out for the night." Get it? Night? Pretty much they look at a museum. They find clues. That's where you get Velma, "Can't see without my glasses." And because she's blind as a bat, she thinks the night is Shaggy with a cold, with a cough. One thing I was surprised by in the first episode, there's a mention of the word blood. Because Daphne's like, "Well, if that's blood, that'd be a clue, right? It's paint." But I was a bit surprised that, wow, they mentioned blood on a cartoon. Which I find funny, because if this was created to have less violence, in the first episode you mentioned the word blood. Nowadays that'd be taboo in a cartoon to mention blood. I mean, like a Saturday morning type of... Well, they don't even have Saturday morning cartoons nowadays. What am I talking about? But yeah, that type of kid-friendly cartoon. And you have the chase sequences. A lot of fun hijinks. Like Scooby and Shaggy hide under a table, and the knight lifts it up, and they're still connected to the table and puts it back down. As a lot of times, it's mainly these two guys. They get in some kind of situation and accidentally trap the villain. In this case, they hiding in a plane. They accidentally start it up, crash into it. I mean, the mysteries themselves, as a kid, you're kind of into it. Like, what's going on here? Who's the culprit? As an adult, maybe not as much, but they're mysteries for little kids. It's not supposed to be Sherlock Holmes. So, in the first episode, it's an art swindler who takes art and replaces it with their fake art so they keep the real art and sell it. But Hassel in the Castle. This might have been the first time I heard this line, because I do remember this back in the day. Open the mouth between the gums, look out stomach, here it comes, and Shaggy trying to eat. The Dane is lost in a fog on a boat. They get trapped on this island. They search the area. They go into this house. Daphne goes through a trap door. First time I've heard of Wind having a sense of humor. Or like when the ghost is going, you'll pay. Shaggy's like, okay, I'll pay. How about 4 bits? I thought that was kind of witty. I thought that was kind of fun. Like Scooby in disguise. Be brave. Think Rin Tin Tin. Nah. Think Lassie. Nah. Think John Wayne. Okay then. So I thought that was a nice nod to John Wayne, and that's what Scooby will... that's what gets Scooby into focus, so to speak. I would say of the 3, that was the more fun. I liked all 3, but that was the more fun, I think, just because literally being stuck in the middle of nowhere on this island, and because the character dealt with magic, the villain dealt with magic, it said there was more tricks going on, and the rationalization is because of all the magic tricks the guy did. A clue for Scooby-Doo. That's the one that has the villain that I remember the most visually. It was a deep sea diver ghost called Captain Cutler. Because as a kid, I remember seeing like this deep suit walk around, glow in the dark light. That was an image that I thought really stuck out to me. I'm like, oh, it's this episode. And you know, the Scooby and Shaggy always eat weird stuff. Chocolate covered hot dogs. Which is interesting because I know Casey Kasem later on, he was a vegetarian. So he would always have, please have Shaggy be a vegetarian because I'm a vegetarian. And they kind of kept that motif much later on throughout the franchise. But that's not how it started, so... just a little tidbit there. If you're wondering why Shaggy doesn't eat meat now, is because Casey Kasem, that was like one of his wishes. I mean, okay. I think it's a weird wish, but alright. I believe this is the first episode where the Dane are at the malt shop pretty much to discuss the clues in the case. That deals with the seaweed that's glowing, and I mean, Shaggy got some chuckles on me. I'm not going that pipe. You're not. Scooby's going to do it. Oh, well, that's different. I thought it was cool to see the Dane actually be deep sea diving and looking through the inner workings of these ships that have been crashed or shot down and the rubble at the bottom of the sea. Like, they see the ghost and Shaggy's trying to light the matches. Like, oh, I forgot matches don't light underwater. That is, I did notice a big animation error. There's a point in A Clue for Scooby-Doo, the 3rd episode, that they're underwater. Shaggy sits on a thing that opens up a hidden door. Like, he sits on a rock and it's a fake rock. When it cuts back to Shaggy, his hair is now blonde. Like Fred. Like this blonde. And very obvious, glaring animation error. I was surprised they looked at it and they said it's okay. So, but I mean, there's a big error. It only lasts that one bit, but still. If you're wondering that noise, it's one of the cats outside. Even, you know, I guess that cat is even annoyed by the error. I don't know why they made that animation error, but you know what? It happens. But again, it does follow a formula. A lot of times there's a trap that they make. It doesn't work the best they should, but Scooby and Shaggy ultimately do defeat the villain, and then it's a wrap up of who this person was and why they were doing it. And I didn't. If you didn't like the formula, you get tired of it. If you did, kind of comfort food. But yeah, I just see that if you try to watch it in a marathon, it might get old a bit quick. Seeing this formula repeated over and over and over again. I don't know. Maybe that's why they felt 2 seasons was enough, even though it was a huge hit. But yeah, it's definitely a nostalgic show. It's a wholesome, innocent show. It's not fart and dit and puke jokes or political bullshit. Lo and behold, two guys, two girls. Oh, I'm sorry, two men, two women working together to solve a mystery. Lo and behold, it's not men are better, women are better. It's people working together to solve a mystery. And no political, in-your-face bullshit. Just a simple formula and simple fun. Mix of hijinks, cartoons, and a bit of a horror mystery, which is a nice ingredient to have in it. I would like to pick up the other stuff, but again, it's hard to get all of them. Like I said, the second season of the Scooby-Doo show is scattered throughout, and I think Dynamite Hour, the last time I saw it, was pretty expensive. And I don't care about Dynamite, I just care about the Scooby-Doo stuff. I'm paying money when I don't give a shit about the Dynamite stuff. The Scooby-Doo portion is all I give a shit about. And then like the Scooby and Scrappy-Doo, like this second version of that show is scattered throughout. It's like, fuck. Why? Scooby-Doo is such a popular character. I think this got released on Blu-ray. I don't know if it's with the third season, though. Which is not really the third season, but you know what I mean. I don't know if this is included. I don't know if maybe it's just this. But like Scooby-Doo and the Boo Brothers doesn't have a Blu-ray. Most of them don't have Blu-ray. It seems like Warner Bros. Could do a lot more considering how much Scooby-Doo has made the money. But hey, what the fuck do I know, right? But hey, with that said, still a fun show. Nice to go down memory lane with it. Take care. We'll see you guys later.